If you see here, the differences between a QA and a QC and the quality analyst. Okay, so these are the things which we wanted to discuss. Now, because if we derive these particular differences between them, so we can derive a lot of other things also from this one. Okay, what's the roles and responsibilities of each role, we can discuss about it. Now here, what do you meant by QA? It is quality assurance. Okay, this is assurance, and this is quality control. Didn't talk about this one? I remember that I talked about this topic.
Yes, sir. Very brief. Only QA and QC, not analyst. While talking about, I don't remember the exact topic, but we had 2 minutes of discussion.
Okay, so however, so now the quality controller. Okay, so now here we will be having QC, QA. QA means quality analyst. Here, this is analyst. Okay, and quality controller, quality analyst, test engineer, or test analyst. So these all roles are same. I think when I discussing the SDLC at that time where we're talking about the designations, the roles, we have been discussed about this. So this is quality control, quality analyst, test analyst, test engineer. So these all roles are same. So now here the difference between, we need to understand that quality assurance and then quality control. Okay, now I think I given the same example also. Let me give me the same example and see. For an example, now we do have the complete traffic rules and regulations. So now if it is a junction, so the police will be standing here, and when you are going in a car, so on this particular car you will be wearing the seat belt, and then when there is a red light, you'll be stopped, and when it's amber, then you're getting ready, and when it is green, then you'll move. And when you are in a bike, so here you'll be wearing your helmet, and then you'll be sitting over here. So now when there is a red light, you'll be stopping over here, and the rules and regulations are same. Did these rules and regulations are defined by this quality control, this particular traffic police?
Not by the traffic police, but by the department overall.
So this particular rules and regulations are defined by the central government of India, because it's not only in any state. For an example, if you go in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, if you go for northern side, so if you go for Delhi, Mumbai, anywhere, so these rules and regulations are common. Means, for an example, it is a free left for us in India. And if it means if you are going with the bike, you need to wear the helmet. So in the two-wheeler, we need to have only 2 people. Four-wheeler, Hafiz, go on mute. So this is a free left. So now the same way. So now throughout India, you go to any state or any regulation. So these rules are common. Means across the India, there are certain rules and regulations they need to follow. If if a traveler is in a bike, he have separate rules and regulations. If someone is traveling in a car, they have certain rules and regulations. If someone is traveling in a lorry, they have certain rules and regulations. If someone is traveling in a bus, they have certain rules and regulations, right? So now based upon the vehicle, the rules and regulations would be changed. But these rules and regulations are defined by the central government of India, and this would be across the across the complete country. So here, if you need to understand that traffic police will control this particular traffic, and central government will give the rules and regulation. According to these rules and regulation, this particular traffic police will take that, and then he will control that particular things. So, for whom the traffic police will give, means for get the instructions from the central government, they written some rules and regulation. According to this rules and regulation, so this guy has taken this, and then he started to impose that particular rules and regulations, and then he will control this particular traffic. And this would be common across the India, and it vary from vehicle to vehicle according to the Vehicle Act, right? Similarly, now how this particular concept has been implemented, the same way quality assurance team is across the organization, across the company. So these guys are the big heads. Now, if at all the organization wanted to get the ISO certification or ISM certification or CMM level certifications, any auditing you wanted to do, any quality practices you need to do, any quality governances you need to do, everything would be taken care by the QA team, which is the quality assurance team. So the quality assurance team is a team where they can implement the complete testing practices and testing governances. And what are the ways, means how this complete company need to perform the testing would be defined by this particular quality assurance team members. So this is the importance of the quality assurance. So the quality assurance team would be at a global level across the company. For an example, Cognizant. Now the Cognizant would be testing it for health domain and retail domain. And retail domain means all are Amazon, and these health domains are hospitals like if at all any pharmaceutical companies or Apollo hospitals or these things, those are the health domains. Retailer domains, HR domains, any HR applications domains we have it. So telecom domains, so like anything Airtel, so these things you have tested. So that's a telecom domain. Like this, any means for, if you see here, the strategy for each domain would be different. If it is a retailer, that domain means that particular testing is different. Hospitals, that would be different. Telecom, that will be different, right? We can't have the same strategy for all. So there is a mechanic. So now a car mechanic will be there. Now there is a problem in an engine. The problem may be different. So now sometimes there is a problem with the gearbox. Sometimes there would be problem with the carpeter, and sometimes there would be problem with the fan. But he will change the strategy according to the problem statement, right? The same way for every domain. So the testing strategy would be defined. I mean, the testing strategy would be different. So now holistically, the quality assurance team will derive the test strategy and across the organization. So now for all this, hey, if it is a hospital domain, how I need to test it? If it is a retail domain, how I need to test it? And if it is a this HR domain or any other domain, how I need to test this particular thing, all those informations will be written in this particular test strategy. Test strategy is a bigger document. So now what it will happen is, now these guys will be saying that, hey, when you have this particular application, you need to do this testing, means functional testing, regression testing, and then monkey testing, stability testing, and ad hoc testing, exploratory testing, blah, 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 blah. They will be writing all these particular categories of testing over here. And when you're taking the scope, so this is a criteria you need to take it. And when you're entering into the testing, this is a criteria. Exiting, so this is the criteria. Resuming, this is the criteria. Resumption, this is the criteria. Suspension, this is the criteria. For each and everything, they will be defining a strat, means the information. So how to execute this. So all those things would be written, the terms and conditions and the rules and regulations, everything would be written as part of test strategy. And this test strategy would be prepared by the quality assurance team. And quality assurance teams are the head of the testing practices and testing governances across the company. They define the standards, how to test any particular application, how to have the testing pyramid, and how to have the testing methodologies, and how to have the testing approaches, and how we need to test for each domain. Everything would be defined by the quality assurance team, and that rules and regulations will be given it back to the team members. Any questions in this one?
No, sir.
So this is what quality assurance. Now coming back to quality control. Now quality controllers are all our black box testers, which are we. So now quality box testers, what means actually before jumping to here, these guys will do all the auditings also, internal auditing, external auditing. and presenting the QA practices to anyone else, and all these things. So that is the reason we will be doing all the certifications, ISM certification, ISO certifications, CS certifications, lead auditing certifications and all. So that's where we do our certifications on all this, and then we will be handling this particular quality assurance. Okay, coming back to this one. Now, this rules book and everything has been given to us. Hey, now I'm testing in the retail domain. So now when I'm trying to test it in the retailer domain, so at that point of time, so what are the things I need to test? Say how I need to derive, what is my project overview, and what is my project overview, and then what is my scope and my objective and my LOE, my risk and assumptions and constraints, and then what is my testing deliverables, and what are the tools I have used, what are the resources who are going to work, and then how the bug management will be there, and how the resources management will be there. All those things will be preparing according to that particular project, specific project. Then this is called test plan. For a particular project, we will derive the test plan, but across the organization, test strategy would be there. So test strategy would be the mother document of the test plan, and always it derives from the test plan, and then it will take care of this one. So now if you see here, so based upon the strategy, they will take that particular pointers. The headers are same. See, because even for a test project, if I wanted to test this one, hey, what is my scope and what are my the test entry criteria? Project to project, it might vary, but these are the headers we need to derive. Hey, I need to keep a resumption, suspension, and exit criteria, entry criteria, and then I need to keep the dependencies, risk, contingencies, LOEs, everything I need to keep it as part of this one. So that is how. So we will be creating our test plans. So once this particular test plans and everything has been created, according to this particular test plan, we need to start doing the testing. So now the quality controller people are who executes the particular executions. Now, for an example, now we will write the test cases and we will be executing these particular test cases. Executing or running is nothing but just performing that actions. For an example, I have written a test case that open browser, navigate to URL, enter the username, password, and click the login button, navigate to the home page. So now the same steps, what I'll do, manually, I'll open a browser and navigate to that URL, enter this particular username, and enter the password and click the login button. Make sure this went to the home page. I'll do manually, right? Practically, just I open this all and do it, right? So this is how, when I'm trying to do, so this is called execution or running of that particular test cases. Run your test cases. Did you execute your test cases? Did you run your test cases? Don't get confused. When I was starting my career, the people used to tell me, run your execute. What I need to run, whether I need to run or do something. I didn't even understand that. So test case execution or test case running is nothing but just to execute that particular test case, means perform that particular test case according to these particular steps. So this is what a test case execution or running. So now we will be first understanding the requirements, and then we will create these particular test cases, review that particular test cases, execute the test cases, convert, go for if at all any particular bugs, we log the bugs, and then if it is an automation, go for the automation, and then create that particular automation test scripts. And all these test scripts I'll keep into a test suits, which are smoke suit and the regression suits. So these are the responsibilities of a black box tester. Is it hard to tell your responsibility? Hey, once I get my response, I'll try to understand what are my requirements. So based upon the requirements, if I have any questions or clarifications, I'll get that particular questions and clarifications from them. And once I have my clarifications, then I'll start with the writing the test cases. So when I started to write that particular test cases, I'll design that and then I'll create that particular test cases. I covered all the positive, negative edge cases. And once after this, I'll give it for the review. So my test lead will review this particular test cases and give it to me. If there is any comments or enhancements, I'll do that particular enhancements. And once after that, when I'll start executing that particular test cases according to the respective test data. So when I executed this one, so then I'll give it to the bug lifecycle. So now when it is to the bug lifecycle, so if at all any particular bug raised when I'm executing it, bugs comes, then it will undergo with this particular bug lifecycle. And then I'll assign that one to the developer, fix that one, retest that one, and then I'll make sure everything is working fine. And if it isn't, now till here, this is the R&R of a manual tester. Now converting into the automation lifecycle. So now who is an automation engineer thing? So now once I got this particular test cases, I execute till now everything same. You need to say all these things. Then plus, if it's an automation engineer, according to that particular framework, I'll convert into my test scripts. I'll do my unit testing on this particular test scripts, whether it's working or not. And once everything is working, then I create that particular test suite and I segregate that into the smoke and regression. That's it. This is what your roles and responsibility. If you see this particular diagram or the flow, will you not understand what to say for the roles and responsibilities? People struggle to tell about their self. You tell me, if you're not able to tell about yourself or what exactly you're doing into the project, how come the people will have the confidence? And how come they will know, even though you are having a real-time experience or a fake experience? So how can you prove that you are the right candidate to select for this? It is very simple, guys. So in market, we have China phone and we have iPhone. Which one you will get it for 6,000 itself or 10,000 itself? But here 1,30,000. Which one the audience choose? The people choose. Or okay, forgot about iPhone. If you go for any other Samsung phone, so which it cost around 10,000. So will the people go for the China phone or will go for 10,000 or 15,000, 30,000? It all depends upon the quality of the device. The same way, when I wanted to select a resource from the market, there are multiple people. So how I should select the resource? It all depends upon the quality of the resource. When you understand these particular topics, hey, this guy knows this. Always give something with an examples, because you will remember this one for a longer time. See now, usually I'll never prepare for this session because I have been given more than, this is 14th or 15th batch, and before that we don't have the batches, but you usually give it. Only one batch made me to prepare and come for the session till now, and those guys are really awesome, and still I'm working with them. Every month the star performer, every quarter the rising star performers, every time they get that awards. Even now, consistently for last 1.5 years. And the people made me to come for the session prepared and then come for the session. See, I usually not go for any topic in Java. See, usually I train Java only, Java, Selenium. Those guys made me to go through all the Java topics once again for me before coming to the session. So that's how the people made me. That is a batch which I still remember. After that, I have made many batches, and the first batch and that batch. These two batches really, I feel very happy to be a trainer or a mentor for them. And still all those people only for this particular batch and that batch, except those two batches, I not been in touch with anyone else, because that made me to remember why means those guys are really just guys, you need to give me 1 second, please. Okay, so that is how. So because they will prepared and they will ask the questions which even I can't think about it. So I have to be very cautious when someone is asking. See, I don't mind that. I will not say that I know everything. Definitely, I have a lot of scope myself to improve a lot. At that point of time, when I have challenging questions to me, so I used to change a lot. Okay, so make sure, see now, I should feel that comfort. I should be excited to come for this particular session. So when you make that particular hard efforts and prepare and show that particular differences, so even you will get the right outputs for you, rather than every day first 15-20 minutes wasting the time and then next 40 minutes keeping for the session. Not like that. However, once again, I know that I deviated. I have this problem easily. I can deviate it back. So this is how the quality assurance and quality controller, and then the quality analyst or quality engineer. So here QE is also the quality engineers. All these things will falls into the part of quality controllers. And these are the people falls into the quality assurances. Okay, so this is how this would be having the basic differences. So any questions between the differences between the QA, QC, QE? Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Now the next topic which we wanted to discuss. What is the next topic? Stagings. Okay, so now I wanted means here the topic is not the stagings, and this topic is on the environments. See, now we wanted to know means we have been discussed about different type of applications, right? We have been discussed about the different type of applications. Now this is different type of environments. This is environments. Okay, we have different type of testings also. So that we have been already discussed, right? So now this is different type of environments. Now, what do you mean by first of all an environment? See, I go to school, my school environment is different. I go to my college environment would be different. And I go to office, my office environment would be different. And I go to my house or home, my environment would be different, right? But everywhere I'm only there. So now when I'm in school, my behavior is different. When I'm in college, my behavior is different. My office, my home, but I'm the only person, right? The same way, when we developing that particular application, okay, now what the developer will do, developer will have his own laptop. So in this particular laptop, so he will be developing that particular code. Now what means this particular thing is called as a development environment. See, now in this environment, I have my application. This application will have front-end presentation layer or the business logic layer or the database layer. Okay, so he might be from his particular laptop, he might be connected to any particular server. So I think last time we have been discussed, right? What do you mean by server? What do you mean by server?
Storage of
Did we discuss or not? What is a server?
Yes, we
A
discussed.
system that provides the resources, data, services, or programs to other computers over a network.
Okay, I think I'll give you the same example which I have been. Saujanya, whatever you said is right. But see now, I just recollected a movie called Three Idiots. In the Three Idiots, he will ask you, what do you mean by mission means? That guy will come and then he will say the complete definition of that, right? Usually, I don't remember those definitions. So how I remember the things is, example, now you go for a hotel and you sit on a table and then you will call, the server will come or the bearer, okay? He will come and then he will be asking him, hey, bring me some puri. So you will give him the order or we will be a request. Now this guy will go to kitchen and get back with your puri onto your table. So this is response. Who is giving this particular? See, now you are giving the request and someone need to perform that one, right? So this particular server will give you, he will take that particular request and he will give that particular response back to you. And here he will go and talk to the kitchen. So now this is what your server. And he will go to kitchen, get this one, and he go to another dishwasher room and then get the plates, and he will give it to the kitchen so that he will put that one and then he'll give it to it. And even he can go for some other room to have some cloth to put out this or some garnishing things. Now if you see here, whatever the things you have been requested, this server taken that particular request and responded to you back, and he went to the different places and get that information and then given to you. So same way here also the server is same. Now this is client one. Client means the presentation layers, the presentation layers which you are talking about it, the presentation layers which you are talking about it. So now you are giving client one, client two, client three, means you for a hotel, many people will be there, right? 5 to 6 means consider that 10-15 people came for the breakfast. Now everyone will giving this order. Can a particular only one server can take all the people's order? Because the load would be heavy for him. So now what he will try to do, he will call 2 more servers. Now for first table, second table, he takes the order and he will ask second server to take the second one. See, now server is nothing but it is a physical mission, the physical mission which it was taking this one, right? That particular, just give me 1 second, guys, please. Sorry. So now if you see here, that's a physical, the physical guy. So now here it is also a physical server where we will keep our application into this particular server. Now I think on that day I said that hosting and all those informations also I told when I'm talking about this one. Hosting means what? The hosting is nothing but, for an example, I'm taking my pictures. Wherever I go, I'll take my pictures and then I'll take the pictures, right? Now all these pictures will go and save someplace in my internal memory card or my SD card, right? So in the mobile phone, it will go and store. The same way, whenever I have written the code, I need to save some place so that, you know, when I stored in my internal memory, I can get that particular photo back, right? If this is not saved, can I get that photo? No. So somewhere else, I need to save that particular thing. Now, the same way, all my application code will be saved into this particular server. So now we can't use the terminology called saved. So we will be using hosted. I host all my application code into this particular server. Hosted means it's saved. You have been copied all your application code into this server, and from here you are trying to access that particular code. And all that particular DB means, now this is called as app server, because app means application, you know, right? So now I hosted my application so that this server is called application server. If I hosted DB means I copied all my data tables. DB means database. All the DB means all the tables to store the data I have been copied into the server. Then this server is called as
database server.
That's it, DB server. Now, when I have hosted app, then it is called as app server. Then I have hosted DB, then it is called DB server. Very simple. Server is nothing but it's a physical machine. It is like the same as it is your laptop, but it would be in a high configured. So now you will be having 32 GB RAM, and then you'll be having 4.6 gigahertz processor, and then high configured Windows R configurations. All these things you will be having into that particular server. So now always you remember that servers are the place where you can store all your application data, means application code or database. So all these things are there. So those are the means those things are called as app servers or DB servers, database servers. Now the developer, coming back to the discussion here, actually these all things we have been discussed, but for the sake of the new people who have been joined, so for them we have been explaining this all. Now whoever we have been hosted all this one, and from here we will be taking it. So when we talked about our applications, different type of 1-tier architecture, 2-tier architecture, 3-tier architecture. At that point of time, I have been explained about these things. However, now coming back here, now the developer writes the code, and then from his machine, he stores in this particular app server. So now to the app server, he stores, and business logic and all the things he wanted to store, all the things. Now developer write the code and he will test this one. So now these all things means in this one, he will be having all his app and all his presentation layer. Presentation means front end. So now we have already discussed front end, back end. Now front end is nothing but whatever we see it from the means on the with your naked eye. So now if you can see that whatever the Gmail application which you are trying to see it, so this is what the complete front end. Now this particular front end, so now this is what the front end and the back end, all the business logic layers and everything has been written in the back end. So now if you see, this is how the front end and the back end would be written, and then it would be taken care on this one. Okay, now front end and back end we have it. Now, so now here, this is what the front end and the back end and all the DB, whatever the data we state, everything would be in this particular environment. Now he tested this one, all things are good. Now what he will try to do is, from developer, he developed the code and he performs the unit testing. He tests this one and he would be pushing this particular code or pushing all these things into another environment, which is called QA environment or testing environment. Means from this particular place, they will push the code into this particular environment. Now I'll have all my presentation layer, all my business logic layer, and then DB layer. Hey, you are saying that from this environment to this environment, I understand school environment, college environment. What is this environment? But nothing but this is another server. Simple. So now from this server, he pushed to another server. We name that one as a QA environment, because this would be used only by the developers. Means I have 5 developers, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5. These people will access this server, because you just imagine that if testing people will be testing with a random data. When they tested this one, the developer is making some development. If you change the tested data, will the application will work fine? So never ever developer and the tester should work on single environment. Boss, you give me separate environment. You push the code into here. I'll test here. You develop into your environment. Means it's like your place is yours, my place is my place. I do whatever I wanted in my place. Your place, whatever you wanted to do in your place, you do it. So now I push all my code into here. So now this is onto another server. I have been pushed all my code. Once I got my all the code into this particular server, I'll start doing the testing for this all. So to my presentation layer, my business logic layer, the QA team will send the different sets of data and they will test this one. So now once after this particular QA environment testing, they will be putting into the staging environment. See, remember these words, these are very important. It is very simple to know that within a click, we can know that whether these guys have, I'm sorry. So within the click, the people will understand that, hey, this is, he have a real-time experience, or he is picking up us. So those all informations with a very quick information, we can easily understand that. Okay, so this is how we will be having the staging environment. Now, staging environment means, once again, this is also a server. That's it. Now here I'll be having the application, business logic, and all my database and whatever related to that particular application, that would be packed and then that would be moved over here. Now, once it comes here, now here, once again, we will be testing it. What is the staging mean? Staging is nothing but it's a pre-prod environment. What is pre-prod environment? Okay, what is prod environment? Prod means not fraud, prod, production environment. So now in the production, and production means it is live, means from end users, everyone can access this one. So this is what the production environment. So shortcut, it will call as a prod environment. Now, this is a pre-prod environment. For an example, in our good old school days, we will have annual exams and we'll have pre-finals. right? So means before writing your annual exam, I'll check whether all the things are good or not. I'll be having unit tests, assignments, and all the things I'll be doing it. But once after this one, I have my quarterly exams, half-yearly exams, and pre-final exam. So before you are going for your final, make sure that you have been prepared well. They will conduct the pre-final exam, and then they'll make sure, and then they will send it to this particular annual exams, right? Same concept here also. Before going to your production environment, so first you, once again, that particular code will be deployed into this particular server, and I'll be testing this particular in this staging also. You can have the doubt, hey, I tested here, right? Why I need to test again? To make sure, see, even here you have written your unit test, assignment, and why you write the pre-final? To get the good score, good marks, because in annual exam you need to do the best. The same way, even once again we will test it in the staging environment, so that it will make sure that no bugs are escaped before going to the production. So it will be tested, the unit testing and all the things are here, and then it will be tested, the QA, the complete functionalities and all the things would be tested here. And even you can go for the system level testing also here, the levels of testing. And the same thing here also, the functional, non-functional testing can be carried out. Always you remember that pre-prod environment is the most suitable for doing the non-functional testings, because pre-prod means accurately how the production environment, they will have the similar configurations. Means here I have 16 GB RAM. I'm giving some random example. Production environments will have a very high configuration, but for our understanding, I'm saying that we have the RAM, processor, and the things, right? So 16 GB RAM, and then i11 processors, and these things I have it, right? The same thing. See, server configurations will be different. But just for your references, I was just saying it. So now this is what my production environment, right? My pre-prod environment is also with have the same configurations, because it's a pre-prod, means how the production is there, exactly the same with the configurations would be there, so that I can test it accurately. See, always you remember that when you can't go and test it in your production environment, because you can't give some random data, test data in your production environments. Always you remember that prod testing, we need to do a very limited. We can't run the automation or any kind of things on the production. Only on the pre-prod environment, on the staging only we can do this. Always you remember these are the thumb rules. So now when you are trying to execute something, so always pre-prod environment is the ideal way for NFR testing, non-functional requirement testing. Pre-prod environments are the better ones, not others. Okay, so now I have been tested staging, and then everything looks good. Then it would be pushed to the production. Who will push the code from development to this QA stage, means QA environment, and from QA environment to the staging, and staging to the production? Who will push the code? DevOps. And previously it was a CM team, software configuration management team. So those are the people who deploys the code. So now pushing the code from one environment to another environment is called deployment. That's very simple. Now here the people may, some companies may add some more, hey, I tested here, I tested here, I tested here, and moved the production. No, I wanted to test somewhere else also. They will keep that one as beta environment. Once again, it is also another server. Once again, I'll move all my application code and everything here. I tested, means I tested in the QA environment, I tested in the beta environment, and then I'll test it in the staging, and then I'll push the production. Hey, we need to test it in these all environments. Quality matters, boss. If at all it is required, we need to test it. So now I test here, I test here, I test here, and then move to the production. So this is how this particular the environments in the software testing would plays a very vital role. The same code will be tested in different environments to see how it would behave, and accurately to the production, how we will take that and then test it with that particular data, so that it will have this one. So this is what the different type of environments we do have it. Any questions? So we have been discussed two topics. One is QC, QA, and QEs. The differences between these all we have been discussed. Now we have been discussed about the different type of environments.
Sir, does non-prod environment will comes under this, sir?
Non-prod. What do you mean by non-prod? See, now non-prod name itself, it was saying non-production. Now this is a non-production, this is a non-production, non-production. All these are non-productions only, right? I didn't hear the terminology non-prod. But if someone using the senses, the staging environment, QA environment, these are not production environments, right? So they will call that one as a maybe as a non-prod. That's not a right term in industry. I didn't see it. Maybe I may be ignorant, but still that would be the their essence of saying that non-prod environments.
So, hello,
Yes,
sir, I have a doubt.
go ahead.
In testing environment, sir, according to my understanding, you said that three environments like testing environments, and staging environment, and production. I mean, last environment, production. So, major differentiation in these three environments is on testing environment, it is functional. I mean, it's just about all functional testing. So, in pre-prod environment, it non-functional. I mean, non-functional requirements. In production day, it goes live. Am I correct?
Yes. See, it's not that there is hard and fast rule, Hafiz. See, now here in the QA environment, I'll test all functional testing and non-functional testing also. But what is a recommendation to do the pre-prod environment? The pre-prod means, I told you, right, the pre-annual exams, pre-finals, that would be very much near these configurations of the system configurations, everything would be common. Always see non-functional testing, what we do, performance testing, security testing, and the compatibility testing, right? When we do the performance testing, you should have the same configuration. When you're comparing, you need to compare apple to apple. You shouldn't compare, please can you go on mute? So when you're comparing, you should compare apple to apple. See, now when I have the QA environment, I'm testing all these things with the 8 GB RAM and i7 processor. Now my production is 16 GB RAM and i11 processor. Now my pre-prod would be same 16 GB RAM, i11 processor. Now you tell me which would be more accurate if I test my performance, either in the QA environment, either in the pre-prod environment, which would be more accurate. So if I do it in the pre-prod environment, this would be more accurate because the configurations would be same and the test data would be same. See, always the people will take the test data and everything into the pre-prod environment. And always it is recommended and strongly suggested that you need to go the NFR, the non-functional testings on this. And it is not meant that, hey, we shouldn't do here. We can do also, but we'll not get an accurate, see now, apple to apple comparison will be not there. Apple to orange comparison would be there. That's the reason it is not recommended to do it, but it is not stopped. So it's organization to organization, this all will change. See, when you go and ask in any organization, hey, what are the different type of environments we have? The QA environment, staging, pre-prod, beta, what are the other environments we have? They'll say that I have only one QA environment, no other environments. It all depends upon the organization because these are the cost, right? Now, when you hosted these all things in the server, see now you're seeing it like a single server. If I wanted to host my application, I need to up and run 32 servers for my current application, which I need to run. I need to up 32 servers on the cloud. How much charge? It will charge me more than $500 for a half day to do the testing. So now if I'm testing it for 1 week, you assume that I need to spend more than $5,000 per week. For every release, you want me to spend $5,000? The cost of this one will be more. Now I need to up my QA server, I need to up my pre-prod server, and I need to up my beta server. Then I need to spend $15,000 per week. Throughout year, I'll do the testing. And per week, if I'm spending $15,000, the cost of this one will be increased more, right? So that's the reason the people will take less configuration for the QA environment. Hey, I want to test the functionality. It doesn't depend upon this particular minimum configuration would be there. Not as it is as a production configuration. In the production, we have high configurations. And in the QA environments and these environments, we'll have the less configuration. Because here, there will be a lot of people accessing, the end users will be accessing to these environments. But for these environments, only 10 to 15 people will be, the developers and the testers will be accessing to these environments. They may not have that high configured. But when we wanted to test the performance in the security testing, then we should have the same near to production environment. That is a pre-prod environment, so that we can have an accurate, see how if I tested in the production, so I'll be getting the accuracy in this one. So that's the reason I'll be testing this. So this is how these environments are classified.
So it is the major difference, sir. I mean, configuration is the major difference. Between
Configuration would be
environment
the, yes, always you remember that configurations are the major differences. Remaining everything would be same. The deployment process, copying process, everything is same. Because why we have the configurations? Because it's a cost. And when we have in the not only cost, and another important factor which it will differ is test data. See, now in the production, in the pre-prod environment, you will have the real-time data. Means whatever the production, you got the data that we will be always copying into the pre-prod environment, not into the QA environment. You'll have 1 day minus data we can copy into this pre-prod to get the, see, test data plays a vital role for your testing. Means the complications of the scenarios and all the things. If I told you that, it might confuse you. See, we work for fintech companies. Means they will be paying weekly, monthly account numbers, and the user have default, means they will not pay properly, and if they pay, some people will pay properly. So all those things we need to simulate that particular scenarios, and then we need to test that one in our environment. Now to simulate that one, we will not have the accurate data in the testing environment. So now what we do, we go to the pre-prod environment, get the data from the production, but always remember that that's a sampling data. Will not play with the things. Just we will see how that scenario is replicating, and then whether it's working or not. But not we will use that particular data, and it is a highly confidential, and misuse of data of any particular customer will be leads to the cyber loss, and then it's a criminal act. We shouldn't use, means for an example, we will be entering your credit card CCV numbers, and these all things would be encrypted. We should not get that particular test data. Everything would be in the encrypted format, but we will try to replicate if any particular very rare scenarios, we'll take that and then do it. So the two important factors to make the differences between the pre-prod environments or beta QA environments is, one is the configuration, and the second one is the configuration, and the second one is the test data environment, is what the basic differences which we will be having it. So that is what the basic differences between them. Okay, so any questions? Any more questions around this?
No, sir.
Okay, so now what's the next next topic we have it? So now if you see here, we have been discussed about the QA, QCs and QVs, and then we have been discussed about the staging. And now we wanted to talk about the RAD and V model. Okay, so now what do we meant by RAD? I think you guys has been gone through this particular videos, and then that's a very long backstory, right? So what do you meant by RAD?
Rapid application development.
Okay, so now always you remember. So now the topic I need to connect it back is this is what the SDLC, software development lifecycle. In the software development lifecycle, I have requirement gathering, analysis, design, coding, and testing, deployment, and the maintenance. Now these are the phases which I have in the SDLC. Now according to this particular SDLC, we will be having different type of SDLC models. So now these are the different type of SDLC models of SDLC models. Okay, now in this particular SDLC models, we have been seeing the waterfall model. What do you mean by waterfall model? What are the advantages and disadvantages? And then we have been seeing that incremental model and the prototype model, and then iterative model. Both are same, the increment, this iterative model in this one, and then prototype model, we have been seeing it. Now apart from this one, so now the extension for this particular thing, so we were discussing, which we need to know is which is a RAD model and which is a spiral model So that's really a bit difficult to understand, because this is completely to know about the risk management, risk mitigation, risk planning and all. So that's the reason I don't wanted to talk about this one. So we will go for the V model, and this is not in the industry for a very long time also. Now the most time the industry, even now it was running, is the most important thing is the waterfall model, and then the V model, and all other things are gone. But still, what they have done is they taken the advantages of all these particular models, and they created one more new model which is called agile. Okay, so tomorrow morning you need to go through that particular videos which are there in that particular system. Now we shown already, right? So that particular videos, they have 3 videos are there. In that particular 3 videos you can see those particular modules, and you can see it of that. So now here in this particular playlist, you can see the from the agile, you have 3 videos. Okay, so this videos you need to go through and then come back for tomorrow's session. Guys, one more small hint I'm going to give it. I am much more better than that guy. Okay, that guy will not even spare for a minute. He will ask immediately to remove the people. Usually why I give the sessions to him is, within if I given 30-40 people, he will give it me back with 15 people who are active, proactive, and then who can handle that. You can see I'm 100 times better than him. So be cautious in attending to his sessions. He will ask you the questions and you need to answer immediately, and on the spot he will remove from the groups and all. At least he will not consider, he will not give the chance. So please make sure attend his session properly, prepare this videos, and come to his session tomorrow morning. And tomorrow session is at 9 o'clock. Okay, Saturdays, because we have the meeting from 10 to 2 o'clock. We have continuous back-to-back meetings, so that we can't take. So morning 9 o'clock would be your training session. And this week we will try to see, we wanted to keep any particular assessment. We will try to keep this particular assessment, else we will be keeping this particular assessments from the next week. The contents are same, whatever we have been discussed till now in the manual testing, those are the topics will be there. I'll see and let you know on that particular assessment, but anything that will be communicated tomorrow, if at all there is an assessment. Okay, so now coming back here, so we need to talk about this particular RAD model and the V model. So I think we do have only 3 minutes of time, so I don't want to stop and then start and then stop the things. Now, as soon as come back, I'll talk about this particular RAD model, and then on this particular V model, I'll be talking on this. Okay, so next week is the last week for the manual testing. Actually, I thought of starting the Java sessions on this. Actually, I wanted other guy, so Maulali, who will be taking care of the Java, but this time I wanted to take the Java sessions also. So let me see. So what I share with Maulali, he's a guru of mine, so who trained me on Java. So that guy is also the same, and all we guys are from before 28 years we were friends. So all from there we are traveling it. So those guys will giving you the train. So either Pramod or his name is Jay Pramod, who will be taking on the agile, and Maulali, who will be taking core on Java. So next week we will be trying to plan on the manual testing concepts, whatever the pending things are there, so that would be completed. And according to that particular completion, so then we will start with Java. Usually I given it to Maulali for taking up that particular Java sessions, but this time I'll continue for Java certain time, and then I'll hand over to him. And when it comes to the TestNG, Maven, and Selenium, I'll take care of these 3. And what part I'm going to give it, I'll let you know. But however, this is what are next further plans. So Monday, I'll be taking care on RAD model, V model, and what else pending? RAD model, V model, and I wanted to take care. So before you coming back here, what happened? So before you coming back, so you guys need to go through what is RAD, what is V, and build verification testing, build acceptance, monkey testing. You can take the screenshot if you wanted. And I think you can, we'll be sharing this one in the group also if you require. You can get that. And what are the remaining type of testings? Means different type of testing. So first we will talk about RAD and V model and the different type of pending testings which we have it, and non-functional testing. As it's said, the APIs we will not cover. So the APIs will take here, because to given an introduction, I have been given it for 2-3 hours. So now we will not waste that time. And that would be altogether API testing and all the things that is completely different. That's not into the scope of our training. If you're really interested, you can go back here and then you can see this 8 videos. Now here, you guys need to, these are the things which I'm going to cover. RAD, V model, different type of testing, non-functional testings. Under non-functional testing, performance testings, different type of performance testing, load, stress in this all. Load, stress, endurance, spike, volume, durability, heavy load, constant load. So all these categories of testing. And security, auth token, authorization, authentication, and port testing. So remaining the things related to the security testing would be discussed as part of this. And compatibility testing. So why I'm saying this all, you have 2 days of time, Saturday and Sunday. Prepare on all these topics and come on Monday. Okay. So Monday, I'll be asking you to tell me on RAD model, V models, and then this type of testings and non-functional testings. We will see whatever the topics we'll be covering on Monday, and then we'll resume it back with test plan and estimations and all other things. So that's the plan, and let's see how things goes on. Yes.
Sir, tomorrow only sir is going to take the class for Agile.
Yes.
Because
yes, you'll take it on tomorrow.
sir, tomorrow festival.
Oh God, I'm sorry. We don't see the dates and the things. I'm sorry. Okay, fine guys, then no.
Because
He will take. Yeah, I don't know. I completely forgot about it. I'm sorry. Even for me also it was festival, but still we will be working tomorrow. However, I'm fine. So you can come back on Monday. I completely forgot about it. I'm sorry.
Sorry to
So
say.
tomorrow there will be no session, sir.
So there would be no session, but on Monday you need to prepare this all and then you need to come.
Yeah.
So Monday, what I'll try to do is I'll make this one fast enough. So as we are missing tomorrow, Monday morning, Sunday the Pina will be pinging you. So which time you will be having the agile session, and then which time you'll be having 10 to 11 is my time. I can't change this because I have other slots booked. So either 8 to 9, this particular session would be taken care, or 12 to 1, the agile will be taken care. But 10 to 11, I'll take on RAD and agile and these models. So I think we will make 2 hours per day to make it quicker and faster, and then we will see it. Okay, next week, whatever the pending items, I think we will be completing all the topics, whatever the things are there. And as I told you, our intention not here to complete any particular things. Definitely the topics should be understand by you. So that is what our major intention. I'm just seeing that where is our just give me 1 second. Hey, I'm joining in 2 minutes. Just handle the session. Yeah. I'm just joining.